Hey everybody, my name is Brandon Scott and welcome to the Fandom Pastor, which can be found on our YouTube channel, Facebook page, or podcast. The Fandom Pastor is for all of us who love our fandoms and our faith. Fandoms are anything that somebody has a deep love for. Harry Potter, Broadway musicals, cult films, to name just a few. Join the Fandom Pastor as we see how God is connected to it all. And don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. Hey all, this is Pastor Brandon with our next episode of the Fandom Pastor. We continue this week on our series on the Rogue Gallery, the bad guys of the Batman comic book series. If you remember, our clue from last time was this character's most famous weapon was not used by them first. And so in this case, I'm talking about fear toxin or fear dust was actually first used by Dr. Hugo Strange in Detective Comics number 46 in 1940. And this character that I'm talking about is actually Jonathan Crane, the Scarecrow. He's most famous known for using fear toxin or fear dust or fear gas, whatever you want to say. But actually Hugo Strange used it first. And Jonathan Crane actually didn't make his debut, the Scarecrow didn't make his debut until Detective Comics number 571 in February of 87. So 47 years later is when fear toxin really came back into play and was the most famous weapon, the most identifying attack by this particular character. As we think about fear, as we think about courage, it reminds me of Joshua, chapter 1, verses 6 to 9. Be strong and courageous, for you are the one who will lead these people to possess all the land I swore to their ancestors I would give them. Be strong and very courageous. Be careful to obey all the instructions Moses gave you. Do not deviate from them, turning either to the left or to the right. Then you will be successful in everything you do. Study this book of instructions continually. Meditate on it day and night so you will be sure to obey everything written in it. Only then will you prosper and succeed in all you do. This is my command. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. You know, we think about fear, we think about courage, and we know that during this time period that the people of God were really in a tight spot. They were really struggling, and they needed that encouragement. They needed to be told to be strong, to be encouraged, to be courageous. And they were told, concentrate on what was written. Understand that God's going to be with you always. Moses has given you these instructions. I've already promised to watch out for you. And so we have to be courageous. When we think about courage, it takes all sorts of forms. It can take courage for someone to just get up in the morning. It can take courage to care for someone in need. It can take courage to turn up at work or school in the face of issues and conflicts. It can take courage to cling to our faith when everything and everyone tells you it's all just like an illusion. And we all need to recognize that courage is not the opposite of fear. Without fear, there would be no courage, but it'd only kind of be foolhardiness. Courage kicks in when we take the note of our fears, but don't let them shape our lives. To be courageous is not to be fearless, but to refuse to surrender to fear. Something we need to learn in peace as well as in war. You see, and that's what we can kind of identify with Batman. How many times has he faced off against the Scarecrow? How many times has he faced off against an enemy like that? And rather than being fearful or being shaped by his fears, he confronts them. Sometimes it takes him a minute. Sometimes he has to struggle a little bit, but he faces them down. Time and time again, whether it's because of artificial means like the fear toxin or whatever, time and time again, Batman has had to face off against his fears. He had to not just doing away with the fears completely, but rather facing them down and saying that I am not going to be controlled by them. I am going to go about the business I've been I've been almost charged with. And in a way, we're the same way. We need to go out and not let our fear rule us, and to be intentional about the work that God has placed before us. We need to be intentional about what we are doing and not worry about what the world may say, not be scared of what the world or the people around us may say, but instead go about it in courage, in a way to show that we don't care what fear says, that we will serve. So, here's my clue for next time as we continue our series on the Rogue Gallery, the bad guys of the Batman comic book series. This character hates Bruce Wayne and Batman equally. Thanks, and God bless.